Hello everyone, my name is Robin Imthorp. I'm a sergeant at the Marine Corps, and today I will be giving my presentation. Behind me you will see a picture now. It says, "You are not alone." And that's really important. But this picture tells also another story, a story you don't really see up front, but it's a story behind the picture. I chose this picture not knowing the story behind it. But this is a Ukraine civilian being trained to become military to be sent to the front lines. But this person committed suicide. This is something I didn't know beforehand. And it's something you do not see, but it really depicts how important it is to not feel alone and to be seen. And my story begins with a lot of unrest, I would say, and you will now see a video that will explain a lot. In the video you just saw, you see a lot of sounds, and those sounds are triggers. Triggers that just got me in another modus, another being. I could be physically at one place, but mentally just somewhere else, and just it wouldn't line up. I could get scared, but my body noticed it first, and afterwards my mind started to think about it, and I was living in fear. That fear and that unrest brings me to a certain point that I'm laying in the hospital. That's the picture you see behind me, and this is my all-time low. I'm physically okay there, but mentally I'm just broken and done. I suffered from severe panic attacks, had nightmares, just couldn't cope with the reality of home. And that's something really difficult, because in my military education as a Marine was being hard, being strong, and figuring out things for myself. And this was something else. I could not match it with the Marine I should supposed to be. And what I told you, becoming a Marine, becoming the military, I was at a young age. I was like 17 years old when I joined the military, and at 19 years old I joined the Marines. And it's a hard system. It's a system that drives you. It's about strength, dedication, unity. And we take pride in that. But it's also about something else. It's about the dedication to do something bigger than yourself. And those are all nice things and all things you feel proud of. And it's something you can and may feel proud of. But also something that I learned was you can turn off your emotions. I go a lot of tours. I go to tours in Afghanistan. The picture behind me shows that, my first tour, and I do a couple of things. And of course, during those tours I experience things. I experience violence, of course, and stuff like that, but I also enjoy the brotherhood of being together and having purpose in my life. And when you're active military and when you're doing your work, you don't really have time for that, or you're just too tired to experience those emotions. And it's a certain point when we're on the mission in Afghanistan and we are moving away from our location. At that point we had a lot of contact with the enemy, and now we're moving away, and we had a lot of problem with mines and stuff like that. And my task is to guide the vehicle in the right direction. And when I'm doing that, another vehicle of us is driving to the same place where we were just standing, and I can really picture it again. I just see that vehicle blow up in front of me. It's like up in the air, falls down, debris everywhere. It's the blast. It really resonates in my core, in my body, and the whole world is different again. My job is to go under armor and to be safe, but I take the medical bag and start running that direction, just seeing what I can do. What I see is a vehicle that's totally broken down, and next to it are 2 wounded. One of mine is a sergeant, and he's heavily wounded, severely wounded, missing a limb and stuff like that, and it's just working. And what I said, you don't have time for those emotions, you act, and if you don't act, people die, and you act under severe threat, and it's a difficult situation. A lot happens. It's intense. It's, I think, the most intense experience I ever had in my life. But where do you place that experience? Where do you put that? For us, military in the Netherlands, war is temporary. We go on a tour, we come back. For you in Ukraine, it's of course different. They go to the front, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks home, and then they go back. So it's a really different dynamic, but still you have to place all those experiences inside your body, inside your mind, in the context of home. And that's something really difficult. Often people don't understand you. When I come back home, I try to explain myself, but nobody really understands. And I don't have my brothers in arms around me anymore. So I'm now alone, just figuring out. And I talk about what I experienced, but I stop talking about it because nobody understands and just have to move on. So I just park those feelings away. I just put them in a place inside my head for like, all right, now moving on to the next, and my life continues. And I have a beautiful life, really. But there's always that certain bit of unrest that I can react in a certain way, just like from 0 to 100. It's like really exploding. When I start drinking, I want to like save the world, or I seek confrontation. My wife has difficulty reaching me. I'm always a little bit in a different place. And when I'm in busy places, I just like to keep myself safe. And it's something I don't talk about, but something that that's difficult for me to place in the reality I live in. It's a sort of unrest, unstable. People see it. Why is he reacting that way or stuff like that? And people judge it. And I just don't know what's going on, really. That takes a couple of years, and in those couple of years it slightly gets worse and worse and worse by the time, but I don't notice it because I'm going like up when I'm at work and when I'm doing my stuff, and when I'm home I'm feeling down, and work I'm doing okay and home feeling down, work okay and home feeling down, and it's like a slide down. That makes it really difficult to see. Of course my wife sees it and she's like, what's going on with you? But I live my military career. I move on and I do my stuff. Well, I do a lot during my military career, and at a certain point we get the opportunity to get a placement somewhere else. And that is where the most beautiful thing in my life happens, really. It's when my first daughter is born. But it's beautiful for like a couple of weeks, because what I'm carrying with me is weighing me down really heavy. And when a child is born, or when something big happens in your life, things you didn't deal with start surfacing, starts moving up. And every time my daughter starts crying or yelling, I just shut down. I can't deal with it. I start having panic attacks in the morning, in the afternoon. I'm feeling threatened all the time. I feel like when I'm in a supermarket, there's always a threat, and just moving around and scanning everything, and I'm not available, emotionally not, and not for my wife and not for my child, and that really makes it difficult. It's really a dark period, and I can at a certain point not do my work anymore. And then you have a nice picture of me holding my daughter up in the air, but internally there's something else going on, and at home I'm not a nice guy. My wife is even scared of me at this point, and that's something you never want, of course, but it happens. It's behind closed doors and nobody really sees it. For me, and this is a picture where I'm sitting in a chair, is just before I have these panic attacks and they just come up and they're like, the feeling just like I'm dying and I don't know what to do with myself, and it's all because I'm hiding. I'm not talking about it, keeping it to myself and trying to fix it all myself. Well, of course I go see the doctor and he sends me to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, and I do all the stuff that I need to do, but I'm always fighting it. It's really difficult for the psychologist to talk to me about these things because I think you don't understand me, so just help me and fix my problem. But the only one that can fix your problem is yourself, of course. But I'm sitting there, yeah, and it's difficult. And I also don't feel that they understand me really there. First time that I come there, I have to fill down all those lists, but the only thing that I want is just to express myself and just to get it off my chest, but I have to fill out these forms, and he's looking at the clock from, oh, the time is done, your EMDR session is done, so, and that doesn't really feel, and I just miss my brothers in arms, I miss that feeling to being together and going forward. And what I notice during all those therapy, and well, like 2 years of therapy that I go through, is like, I always have been living behind a sort of mask, just masking my emotions and masking and looking at the outside and saying, hey, this is the version that you see, but inside I'm just hurting. I just need a hug. I just need to feel stuff. I just need to let go of this war, but I really can't. And that's when loneliness starts. It's when you put up that mask and show to the outside world what you think they should see, but it makes you really lonely. And loneliness happens when we're together, when we cannot express ourselves, when we only are in our mind and we miss our brothers and sisters in arms, and I just can't place it, and then it becomes dark, and what's the use of life anymore? And it's a place I thought I would never go, but it happens. And it happens because I'm not dealing with my pain. I'm still fighting my pain instead of accepting it. And I'm working on myself and I'm working hard and I'm trying to get better. But what I need is someone to listen to me, to see me and to see behind that mask. It's like living in two worlds. A world that can trigger me by sounds and stuff like that, and just pull me back from a happy place. So I'm with my family, I'm happy together, and just the sounds or something just pulls me away, and it affects my life, it affects the life of my wife, and so two worlds just collide continuously. After a session of therapy I can go home, but the world still needs his attention, so the healing doesn't only happen in the sessions, but it happens afterwards, and that needs just is time to process it and to feel safe about it. Of course, I finish my therapy, I do EMDR sessions, exposure sessions, but it's at a certain point, we can all do these things. But at a certain point that my wife says I cannot take it anymore, and it's like she draws a line from to this stage and not further, and it's like, if you're not getting better, I just have to leave with my daughter because I cannot deal with you anymore. And for me, it's like I'm doing my best, I'm trying, but I'm always really accepting that victimhood on myself. Look, I'm so terrible and never going to be okay. But for me, it's also when she says that, it changes my view on how I should do this. And I'm just fighting so hard, and I fought all my life. That is really about acceptance. Accepting where you are in that moment, and accepting that you cannot do it alone. Accepting that every session is another piece of the puzzle that will help you eventually, and not looking at that big picture, but just in that moment, just accepting that it's dark, accepting you cannot do your work, accepting that you just have a problem, and that's the moment that the two worlds gradually start to balance out. It's when I start to feel a little bit more connected and I start healing more. I'm not fighting my therapy anymore, and I'm also doing body work a lot now. So the body work helps me, the trauma that's just stored in my body, it just helps release, and I feel more relaxed and I can cope. And I'm always try to go back to what I was, and that's something that everybody wants. I want to go back to what I was, but I had to just accept where I was and try to build something new and move on. And it's when I deal with that pain and move through it, gradually it changes. And something I notice is that how more I deal with pain, there comes room for something else, and that's love. Love was difficult for me to feel because I was so blocked off, but it happens just a piece of the time, and I just tried to follow it. And for me, it's a gradual shift. If you look, all right, I'm down here and I'm trying to get better, but it looks more like I'm going all over the place. So and eventually you come somewhere. But it's making a choice just to do something, just to move and take a different step forward. And for me, I'm done with my therapy, and the therapist says, all right, you're green light, you can go now. And I start to work again, but I don't know really who I am. But one thing I really still take with me is that loneliness, and that's something I just cannot live, that somebody else would have that. And I start running again. I'm finding purpose in my own running, and I say at a certain point I'm gonna run 5 marathons in 5 consecutive days. Just running and speaking about my problems openly on the social media and stuff like that, and contacting my buddies and just letting know there's always somebody that will listen to you. You are not alone. And something strange happens for me, because vulnerability was something that I was scared. It was like, oh, you're weak, you're vulnerable. But when I start opening up about it and talking about it, I just get more connected, as you see in the picture behind me. And those marathons are more, of course I have to do the physical activity, but they're more symbolic. I can help a lot of people raise a lot of money, and that's more beautiful. But the picture you see behind me is the last couple of meters where I regained focus, and I was running through the Netherlands, all different places, and now going to my home base, the Marine base, where I became a Marine. And all those pieces of the puzzle just seem to connect again. And not the old one, but making a new one. And it's those last couple of meters when I'm running towards it, that the pain in my body goes away, and that I run towards my end state. And I have dealt with my PTSD. I know I have to carry it for the rest of my life, but I've given it a place, and it's those last moments you will see now in the video that are so special. It's all about taking a first step, because I didn't know this would be the end result when I started somewhere. It's about giving perspective, that once you were there, and if you move step by step, you may come to another place. There's always hope. It doesn't have to stop there, and that's what you see behind me. This is the bond with my daughter, and for the first time I feel a father again. And no, I don't think everybody should run marathons to figure that out, but you have to find something that ignites your fire and move with it. It's creating a safe space for the feelings to be there. It's giving new focus, and after therapy you're not done. You have to move on. You have to give your life meaning, purpose. Finding purpose is really important in this phase. This purpose, I continue. I do a lot of things to raise money for PTSD and care, and I can be really there for people. I visit veterans and talk about this stuff and try to get them in care, and it's always moving one step further. It's about acknowledging what you carry in life. And oftentimes we look at processes or protocol. Protocol says this, process says this. But just ask about what he's carrying and not judging what he's carrying or putting it in your own perspective, trying to frame it. No, just see what the person is carrying and acknowledging it. That must be heavy when you're doing that alone. It's there when we make room for more growth, and that's what I did at a certain point, is making room for others to grow. And the pictures you just saw were me speed marching 25 hours with a backpack of 45 kilograms, just to show you can do everything. We all carry our backpacks in life. So there's always something you can do. And finding meaning is finding connection. And that's oftentimes overlooked. Also in the therapy, is the connection with others. Seeking that and seeing that bond. And the picture you see behind me is I'm in the last kilometers of that speed march, and I'm greeting a fellow Marine. He's years more, he's like 80 years old, but we connect at that moment, and that's something important, something we really should strive for, is to seek out that connection. And not in a victim kind of way, but in a strength, hey, I know where you come from, but I've been there, and I will be there for you. For me, it's also the connection with myself and finding purpose in life again. That's why I'm standing here before you today and talking this story, because I never thought I would tell this story to you, but I'm now doing it. And that's something important. We all got stories to tell. And sometimes things can feel big if you have to fix yourself, and it's all, but just let people focus on the first step, the small step. It's sometimes difficult not knowing where you're going, but just focus on the next step. And when you're moving in life, you see that you can move forward eventually, and life can get new meaning, can get new connection. And well, this is the last photo of me and my family. I don't suffer from the war in my head anymore, but I'm now relaxed. And of course, sometimes in the year I still have to do those difficulties, but I don't judge myself anymore. And that's the part of the journey I think we should all follow. For now, in this short presentation, I hope I have given you some insight. If you have any questions, you can always contact me, of course. And if you'd like, I come and visit at a certain time. But for now, I'm closing this off, and thank you very much for your attention. Bye.